Have you heard the phrase that is the root of all evils? Never gets into debt, that is slavery, and that is true to a certain extent. Because when you are drowning in debt, your life is over. While you are trying to pay your debts are not waiting for you. They are growing day by day. Since no one lends money for free, there is always an interest. Despite all of this, the United States has embraced that total US customer debt is almost $15 trillion, which brings the average household debt to over $5,300. The US GDP is a little over $21 trillion, which means the entire economy consists of that. But I have some good news for you. That is not always bad, that is unpopular opinion, because most of the debt we have is bad debt. You probably have some credit card debts, a car loan, and maybe a student debt. And you are thinking it will take me decades to pay off all of these debts. How on earth can that be something good? In order to understand how that can be something positive, let's take a look at how people with deep pockets still used to make even more money. It might sound a bit confusing, because why would anyone with a lot of money use debt in the first place? That is supposed to be used by people who do not have money, but that's not how capitalism works. That is a powerful tool if you know how to use, and in this video you will find out how rich use that make even more money. So give this video a thumbs up and let's get right into it. Number 1. Most of the trade is based on that. It might sound a bit controversial because borrowing money to start a business is a horrible idea, and personally I would never do that, but there are businesses, especially traditional businesses, where using that is your best option. Let's say you want to sell pens. It's a very common product and there's pretty much always a demand for it. Ideally you would fly to China, find a factory that produces that kind of pen with good quality and right price. You would purchase a container of pens, ships them to the US and distribute them to your clients. But today that's mostly done online through websites like Alibaba. Unlike this more complicated product where you have to fly to that factory, but here is the catch, that you don't really have to pay for the products. First, let me explain how in the past 50 years China has become the factory of the world, producing literally everything. Thousands of factories work non-stop to produce everything that the world needs, and in order to make it easier to sell, most of these factories would gladly loan you their products in return that you would pay them sometime in the future. Of course, they would not lend to strangers, so you will have to build some kind of trust with them first. But that's how businesses has been running for the past 50 years. Once the client would sell the product in the US or any other part of the world, he would pay the factory and borrow more products. You are basically telling the factory you know how to produce it, so let me help you sell it. If I can sell it for anything above this price, that's going to be my profit. What makes this strategy great is that you are not tying up your own money in this transaction. That's why selling is one of the greatest skills you can ever master. Number 2. Refinancing real estate. Is the best kind of debt because it's filled with loopholes. If you don't have a mortgage, then you are paying extra taxes. Rich people always have multiple mortgages to be able to get all of those deductions. Remember, every dollar that you're supposed to pay in taxes, but instead you saving is an extra dollar earned, so that's another way rich people gets richer. But let me give you a more practical way. This is how basically rich people get rich in real estate. Let's say you save $200,000. That's a lot of money, but if we are going to be honest, that's peanuts. You can't even buy a house. Of course, you can't get a mortgage up to $800,000 since you have to make a 20 down payment. But here's the secret. Let's say you find a property that costs $500,000. It's in a bad condition and needs some or maybe a lot of renovation. You head to a bank and get a mortgage by making a 20% down payment. Let's say you are going to spend around 10% of the total cost of the house to renovate it, or around $50,000. You head to your bank again, but this time to refinance your mortgage. When you got your first mortgage, the value of that property was just $500,000 because it was in such a bad condition. that no one wanted to live there. But since you have renovated it, now there are people who want to rent it out, so the market value of that property, let's say, rises to $700,000 like the first time. Let's say you are going to get an 80% mortgage, but 80% out of $700,000 is $5,60,000. 4 lakh out of that money is going to go to your first bank that gave you that first mortgage, and let's deduct another 50,000 that you spent on renovation, and you are going to be left with an extra profit of $110,000. You made $110,000 using that. You are left with a property that you can rent out to build equity and generate passive income. On top of that, you are going to avoid paying taxes because you have mortgage. This is a very common practice among real estate investors. Can you really say after this that it is bad idea? I will leave that for you to answer in the comment section below. Number 3. Hedge funds. Hedge funds are made by the rich for the rich to make rich people richer, and they usually use unpopular strategies. Model people like me and you, we make our best efforts to predict which companies are going to grow and rise in value and invest the money. We work so hard to earn in hopes for these companies to grow. But hedge funds often use a completely opposite strategy. They try to make money when companies fall or go bankrupt, as it was the case of GameStop. Although in that case the internet challenged the hedge funds and pushed them to lose over $13 billion. But how do hedge funds make money with that? Let's say you expect a certain stock to decline like Facebook, because you know that Apple, who produces the most popular smartphone, will announce next week that they will no longer let apps to track you like Facebook or Instagram track your online activity and make privacy their first priority, which will greatly damage Facebook's business model. So you pick up your phone and call your broker to borrow from him a single Facebook stock that costs, let's say, $100, and instantly sell it in the open market for $100. Congrats, now you have $100 in your pocket. But you still owe your broker one Facebook stock. Let's say you are right and next week Facebook stock price drops to $70. You use that $100 to buy one Facebook stock for $70 since the price dropped, and return it to your broker and pocket the difference. Congrats, you have made 30 out of a full of a stock. It sounds simple in theory, but it's extremely difficult and risky in practice. What happens if you are wrong? What if the price doubles overnight? You still have to return that single Facebook stock to your broker and pay interest for borrowing that stock. You have to buy and stock back for $200, return it to your broker. When you buy a stock and try to sell it, when it rises, the maximum that you can lose is the amount you invested in, but not in the case of shorting. If the price keeps rising, your losses keep rising theoretically. You can make unlimited losses since theoretically the stock prices can rise indefinitely, but if you have 100 analysts working for you, you can make a fortune using this strategy. Number 4. Forex. We have already discussed this in the previous videos, but here is how it works in short. Forex is a market where currencies are traded. It makes international trade possible. You can use US dollar in China. You have to buy Chinese yen to pay your employees. For example, in China, so there is a market where anyone or any company can come in and purchase foreign currencies, and based on different factories, these currencies fluctuate. For example, the Fed raises interest rates that will limit the supply of dollar in the market and make US dollars stronger against other currencies, or vice versa. So if you can predict which currencies will rise or fall, you can make a lot of money in this market. But what makes these markets so different from the rest is that for every dollar you use to trade in Forex, you can borrow an additional $100. That means if you trade using your $1,000, you can hold a position worth $100,000. If you end up making a small profit like 1%, it will be huge. Number 5. Credit score. As you can see, that is powerful tool. Every successful business company or entrepreneur using that in various ways, especially if you have a proven business model. borrowing money finance purchase order is practiced pretty much by every business. Stop thinking in terms all that is bad. Of course that with a high interest rate such as credit card debt is horrible, but in order to get a lower interest rate you have to minimize the risk of loaning your money. How do you do that? You build a track record for being a reliable borrower, that there are billions if not trillions of dollars in the banks waiting for someone to borrow them, and even there is not any money banks can create money out of thin air, and we will explain that in a new video. Anyways, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you are new around here, subscribe and turn on your notifications. You are welcome to the channel where you will learn everything there is to know about money and investing in the stock market. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.